know that children born outside of the UK can first become British citizens without getting their ILR? Yes, it is possible. I know that most parents believe that their child that was born outside of the UK must first of all obtain ILR before applying for British citizenship, but it is not always true. The Home Office National Guidance contains a discretionary route which most families don't know about. In today's video, I'm going to explain exactly how this works, who qualify, and whether your child is eligible to apply for British citizenship without getting ILR, your child that was born outside of the UK. This is the kind of question that I get asked a lot of times, and that is the essence of this video. So I'm going to clarify all your doubts. Stick with me and watch till the end. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button so that you get to see all of my videos. And as you're watching this video, please give me a like so that YouTube can recommend it to many people. Also, share it to your friends and families. Thank you. So the question is, can my child become British citizen without first obtaining ILR? And this is the child that was born outside of the UK. Imagine this scenario. A child was born outside of the UK. Then the parents moved with the child to the United Kingdom. 5 years later, one of the parents gets a settled status, that is ILR, and one parent is still on a temporary visa. That child have lived up to 5 years in the UK. The question is, can one of the parents, the parent that has a settled status, can they now apply for British citizenship for this child, considering the fact that one parent has a settled status and this child has lived up to 5 years in the UK? Now, the answer to this question will surprise you, but the answer is not straightforward. We are going to read together what Home Office says and the eligibility for them to apply to become British citizens without first obtaining ILR. The Home Office Nationality Guidance contains a provision called Section 3(1) of the British Nationality Act of 1981. This allows certain children to be registered as British citizens even when they don't have automatic entitlement. Let's go to the official website, gov.uk website, and see what it says. Children born outside the UK. For children born outside the UK, you must first consider whether the person has an entitlement under Section 3(5) of the British Nationality Act of 1981, which gives British citizenship otherwise than by descent. You must then consider whether there is an entitlement under Section 3(2). A child born outside the UK whose parent is in the armed forces may have an entitlement to registration under Section 4D. If no entitlement exists, you must consider the application under Section 3(1). Alright, so let's look at Section 3(5). So, children are entitled to registration as British citizen under Section 3(5) of the British Nationality Act of 1981 if they were born outside the UK. At the time of their birth, they had a parent who was a British citizen by descent. They are under the age of 18 when the application is made. The child and both of their parents were in the UK at the beginning of the 3-year period, ending with the date of the application, and the child and both of their parents have not been absent from the UK for more than 270 days in that 3-year period. The consent of both parents is given. Children aged 10 or over on the date of the application are of good character. So, one of the criteria to apply under Section 3(5) is that the parents must be British citizen by descent. So this one may not apply to most people because most immigrants come to the UK with their children already. Neither of their parents or even their grandparents are British. So this section cannot cover you. This section will not cover you to make application for your child that was born outside of the UK without first getting ILR. So let's move to another section. So let's see what Section 3(2) said. The law in relation to Section 3(2). Children are entitled to registration as British citizens under this section if they are born outside the UK, either the parent in question was a British citizen by descent at the time of the child's birth. The mother or father of the parents in question became, or but for their deaths would have become, a British citizen otherwise by descent, either on 1st January 1983 or at the time of the parents' birth. The child's parents must meet the residence requirement listed below unless the child was born stateless. The parents in question must have lived in the UK for a continuous period of 3 years at any time before the child's birth, have been in the UK at the beginning of that 3-year period, and not have been absent from the UK for more than 270 days in that 3-year period. So again, this one will not cover most migrants that came to the UK with their children. It will not cover you to make application for your child to become British citizen without first obtaining the ILR. So we have ruled this one out. So let's look at section 4D and see if this can cover you for you to make that application for your child. The law in relation to section 4D: a child is entitled to registration under section 4D if they were born outside of the United Kingdom and the qualifying territories on or after 13th January 2010. At the time of their birth, their father or mother was both a member of the armed forces, serving outside the United Kingdom and the qualifying territories. So again, this cannot cover you to make application for your child to become British citizen without first applying for ILR for most of the migrants. So let's move to section 3.1 and see if it can cover you. Discretionary applications under section 3.1. This section explains the circumstances in which it will normally be appropriate to exercise discretion. There are certain scenarios where you would normally be expected to register a child as a British citizen. In all other cases, you must consider whether there are grounds to register exceptionally. Registration under section 3.1 will give British citizenship by descent if the father or the mother was a British citizen at the time of the child's birth. So even if that child was born outside of the UK, but if the mother or the father is already a British citizen at the time of the child's birth, that is when they can apply for the child to become British citizen without first getting ILR for the child. Now, there are some scenarios they've listed here, scenarios where we would normally expect to register a child under section 3.1. So the scenarios include: one parent is a British citizen or about to become one through registration or naturalization. So if you have moved to the UK with your child and you are considering to apply for British citizen for the child born outside of the UK without getting ILR, one of the parents must be a British citizen or about to become one through registration or naturalization. The other parent, if involved in the child's life, is a British citizen or settled in the UK. So one parent has to be a British citizen while the other parents will be settled. So the first scenario is that one of the parents must be a British citizen at the time of the child's birth. Now, they went ahead to say that there are some scenarios where they would normally consider if one parent is a British citizen and the other parent is about to become. And now, if you decide to go ahead and apply for British citizen for that child born outside of the UK, it may be considered, but under complete discretion. It means that Home Office still have the right to reject it, and they also have the right to accept it. Another scenario they have given here is if the child has been resident in the UK for the last 2 years. If the child is under the age of 2, you can accept a shorter residence period, taking into account the age of the child. The child is settled in the UK is also another ground. So this is why you see most people, they don't want any problem. They will apply for ILR first before applying for British citizenship for that child. So these are the scenarios whereby section 3.1 can cover you. So do not allow anybody to deceive you, because people's circumstances differ. Some people will say that, oh, people are telling them you can go ahead and apply for British citizenship for your child that was born outside of the UK as long as you have gotten a settled status. It is not always true, because circumstances differ. For parents that the mother and the father, like the both parents are already settled or they have already become British, they can make that decision to apply for British citizenship for their children born outside of the UK. They can decide and see what happens, see if the Home Office will accept it. Yes, but for someone like the scenario I gave at the beginning of this video, only one parent is settled. Nobody has even become a British citizen in that family. And the question is, can they apply for British citizenship for the child born outside of the UK? So for that scenario, the answer is complete no. Let me try and summarize all that we have read. Home Office is saying that it will not be right to apply for a child born outside of the UK to become a British citizen when neither of the parents are British or about to become. So if the parents are not even British, there is no point talking about applying for British citizenship for your children born outside of the UK. But if your children were born in the UK, once one of the parents get a settled status, you can go ahead and apply for British citizenship for the children born in the UK. But if they were born outside of the UK, it's a different ballgame. You cannot apply for British citizenship for a child born outside of the UK when neither of the parents are British. In the scenario I gave, one parent is settled, the other parent is still on a temporary visa. So neither parent have become British. You cannot apply for British citizenship for the child born outside of the UK. If you do that, you are going to lose your money. You're not getting a refund. So the best thing to do is to go ahead and apply for ILR for that child, and then after 12 months you can apply for their British citizenship. Before you quote me wrong, the guidance does not say that every child born outside of the UK must get ILR before becoming British citizenship. No, but there are some criteria, there are some requirements. So if you met those requirements that we have listed, then you can go ahead and apply for British citizenship for that child. But if you don't meet the requirements, then apply for ILR first before applying for British citizenship for the child. So technically, for a child born outside of the UK, you can go ahead and apply for British citizenship for them under section 3.1 if they meet all the criteria. This does not mean that it must be approved by Home Office. They have the absolute right to reject it. Accepting it is under pure discretion. So if you're a parent and you came to the UK with your child or with your children, now that you are settled and you are wondering what to do, whether to apply for British citizenship for your child or your children, or to first apply for the ILR, the best possible route is to first apply for their ILR before applying for their citizenship. But if you want to apply for citizenship for them first, then you have to wait until you become a British citizen. So wait and become British citizen, preferably let the both parents become British citizen, and then you can make application for your children to become British citizen, children born outside of the UK. So this will be the strongest route. By doing this, you will have a higher chance of the application being accepted. Conclusion: if you have a child that was born outside of the UK and you want to apply for British citizenship for them without first applying for ILR, and your question is this possible? Yes, it is possible under section 3.1, but approval is discretionary. It is not a must that Home Office will apply for that, and you need to make sure that you meet the requirements. You need to make sure that you're doing that when you yourself, you're already a British citizen, or the both parents are already British citizen, before you make application for your child to become a British citizen without getting ILR. Where neither parents are British citizen, application for a child to become British citizen, a child born outside of the UK, is less likely to be successful. Now, let me know in the comments, have you seen parents who moved to the UK with their children and maybe 5 years later they applied for settled status and they applied for British citizenship for their kids and it gets approved? Let me know in the comments. Or did Home Office reject the application? Let me know in the comments. Let me know your circumstance and let me know what you think about this. Now, if you find this video very helpful, please hit that subscribe button if you have not yet done so. It is completely free. And also like this video so that many people will see it as well. Share it to your family and friends. This is the only thing that you can do to say thank you to me. And also, thank you so much for watching. I would like to see you in my next. My name is Ollie. For now, you take care. Bye-bye.